This video is dedicated to stoners. You know who you are. Alright, let's get serious. So, right, Harry Potter, Ginny Weasley. So, there's this stupid blurb thing that I could find, but I don't really care enough. That basically says that Ginny is just used as a girlfriend in the movie, which is bullshit. Okay? First of all, you have to think of someone who's like extremely like enamored by a person who's famous. Now, if you think about it, we all want to date famous people because they're famous. But if you think about it, as Andy Warhol said, we will all be famous for 15 minutes. And it's true. You're on YouTube right now and watching me. I'm famous for 15 or how long this video is, and then I might disappear, might come back. You know, the thing is with YouTube and life is you never really know what things are gonna do or which way the wind's gonna pull or push you, and that's not what the point of this video is about. So Ginny Weasley. Question, which we will now deal with, is Ginny Weasley just the girlfriend in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter, the book series? No. No. In the movies, it's argued that she's just the girlfriend in that. But that's also wrong. Because remember that these kids were very young when they started. So they didn't really know what they were doing. I mean, sure, they got the training and how to be good actors. But, like, you think about it, those kids were just being themselves. So, like, I don't think Daniel Radcliffe did anything that he didn't think would make sense. Because J.K. Rowling was very selective on who she chose. Like, for example, Ivana Lynch, who plays Luna Lovegood, who's a stunning woman, by the way, she was anorexic, I think, or bulimic, one of the two. And J.K. Rowling was like, okay, if you clean yourself up, you can be Luna Lovegood. And I'm like, okay. She's like, okay. And she did it. She cleaned up. And it's amazing that she did that. Oh, that's cool. Just like that. On-set interview. She doesn't really smile, does she? Ginny doesn't really smile either. Anyway, so the point is that, I don't know what I'm saying. What am I saying? Jeez, what am I saying? Oh, don't tell me, I just... sorry, I'm losing my train of thought right now. So Ginny isn't really a girlfriend character in Harry Potter only. Yes, in the end she becomes Harry's girlfriend, but that's not the point. The point is that there's more to the story than just that. So it's still J.K. Rowling's work, right? So they're still trying to base it off of her books. So there's a scene, which is probably in the book. You will probably get it when I read this Chamber of Secrets, which won't be happening anytime soon, by the way, because we're still on Philosopher's Stone. If you didn't know that, well, we're on the Philosopher's Stone. I'm Dumbledore. No, I'm not. I'm not even Harry Potter. Anyway, so the point is that... Jesus, this is why you don't do these when you're not sleeping. Anyway, so the video is this video. This video is brought to you by Price Club. No. Dominion. No. Costco. No. Ginny Weasley is... how do I explain this properly? Right, so, Harry Potter is a great series. J.K. Rowling knows what she was doing. All those characters, though, are just being people. So, but you still have to base it off the characters. So Ginny is extremely obsessed with Harry Potter. She's always been extremely obsessed with Harry Potter ever since Harry Potter existed. So it's all about... So J.K. Rowling sends some very interesting values towards her audience / messages. And when you think about it, when you write, you're doing it as a message. Like, you're sending messages to your audience, being like, you know, what if this happened? Or what if that happened? Or what if I was immortal? I couldn't die. How would I handle that? How would I not handle that? Anyway, so, same thing. So, None of the actors really did anything that they would think would be against their characters, but they also would do nothing that would be against their character, which means their character as a human being rather than an actor playing a character. So, like, I don't know. Because Bonnie Wright's not dating Daniel Radcliffe, and Daniel Radcliffe's not dating Bonnie Wright, though he does talk about, like, you know, how great it is to just kiss all the time on set. I mean, sure, one of the perks of the job as being an actor, if you're in a romantic scene. Anyway, so the point is Ginny Weasley in the Harry Potter series is a very interesting character, but she's also fleshed out in the films. Not maybe as well, because it's not a book, but it's still pretty good. Like, the first scene we see of Ginny is when Ginny and her entire family are on the Hogwarts Express platform, 9 3/4. That is our first scene with Ginny. And of course, as a writer, you need to know why everything has been set up the way it is. So J.K. Rowling set it up that way because she knew that in the end, Harry and Ginny would date and eventually marry each other and have children. Of course, they're 11 now, or she's 10, but so they're not thinking about that. She's obviously not. They barely know each other, but Ginny knows more about Harry Potter than Harry Potter probably knows about himself. So that's interesting. So it's all about a famous person meeting another person who's enamored by this famous person, except the famous person doesn't really realize how famous they really are and what exactly his responsibilities are in the world. So like if Jesus came back down from heaven and was like, yo, everybody, I exist. Like, that'd be a very interesting scene because we wouldn't really know who Jesus is because Jesus could be literally anyone. Except he has blue eyes, apparently, and a very long beard. Well, not that long, but not just like a beard, apparently. Anyway, the point is that that's an idea. J.K. Rowling obviously didn't do that. But anyway, that's the point. So Harry doesn't realize he's really famous. But Ginny does. Ginny knows more about Harry than Harry will probably ever figure out or care about because he doesn't need to want... Some actors don't like watching themselves on film. I'm not one of them. But some actors find it uncomfortable, and I agree. Like, it's like looking at yourself in the mirror, but talking to yourself. Like, you're looking at yourself as an actor. So if you want to be a good actor, you got to distance yourself from that. Because if you really want to be a good actor, you got to study your stuff. Like, you got to watch your old movies, like be Eminem, listen to your old rap stuff. Be like, does this make sense? Does this work? How would I grab the audience this time? And if you're just being yourself, you'll grab the audience every time if you're an artist. If you're somebody else, well, we all are really acting in our own little lives. Scared a bunch of kids today with a Joker laugh. Like, they were idiots, though. Stoned out of their minds. Remember, this video is dedicated to stoned people. Or people who like drugs. Anyway, so that's the first movie. Second movie, Ginny gets possessed by Lord Voldemort. Now think of that. This we are now dealing with is mental illness, insanity. We could argue that Tom Riddle is insane. He's also a wizard. But they're all magical people. But what's interesting is that Ginny gets possessed by Voldemort, as well as Harry. But Ginny experiences it more full-on in the beginning than Harry does. So it's like they now share something. Which is basically, they share being possessed by somebody, which actually happens. Harry gets possessed by Voldemort all the time, technically, and Ginny actually is literally possessed by Voldemort. In the Order of the Phoenix, this is a great scene because Harry gets possessed by Voldemort, and Voldemort is like trying to make him kill Dumbledore, basically, and it doesn't work because Dumbledore doesn't realize that we live for one reason, love. That is the biggest message of J.K. Rowling's entire philosophy on life. You need to live for love. If you don't live for love, give up. Move on and find love before you keep moving forward. Because love is what drives you forward. Love for your art, love for a person, love for anything. But usually human contact is important in love. But what do I know? I'm not married. Or am I? Anyway, so the point is, Ginny is a full fleshed out character in the movies. It's not that clear, but if you read between the lines, which is a book, so you have to, no offense. So that's the second movie. Third movie, we don't really see her. If we do, I don't remember. The fourth one, not really. She's probably there. Oh yeah, she's at the Triwizard Tournament. That's a cool scene. But it's like it's just kids having fun. I mean, what are they now? 14? They're supposed to be 14? I mean, they weren't really 14. They were much older. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is that these characters are just people. J.K. Rowling writes people. She doesn't write characters, she writes people. Because that's what sells movies. That's what sells books. People. We sell books. We sell movies. We sell everything. We're human beings. We're not gods. We're not weird creatures from the dead. We're human beings. And we die. And when we die, we don't know what happens. Unless someone knows because they got spoken to someone who died. Which is true. Anyway, so the point is, J.K. Rowling is staging her characters as like a play. And then the play happens. We got Philosopher's Stone. We got Chamber of Secrets. We got... Seriously? Prisoner of Azkaban. Then Goblet of Fire. And then The Order of the Phoenix. Which is interesting because it's the most boring book of the series. But also what's interesting is it's setting up the politics of the whole universe of Harry Potter's world. Which is just London. But anyway, so what happens is... The Order of the Phoenix isn't really the greatest organization because they're constantly being infiltrated. So what happens is the kids, who are now 15, decide to create their own order, which they know could be extremely dangerous. People could die, like Sirius Black. But he wasn't part of Dumbledore's army, he was part of the Order, the original Order. See, what they're really doing is they're trying to make another order, but they're not going to call it the Order, because then they'll be found out extremely quickly. And already, Professor Umbridge is trying to dismantle their entire operation anyway. And I would argue that she was possessed by Voldemort, but even if she was, she's pathetic. Because Harry could fight it. Harry crashed into a table when he tried to fight Voldemort from getting the Cruciatus Curse. So it shows how strong Harry really is, because he's like-minded. He's just your average Joe who is just, unfortunately, famous. So J.K. Rowling's writing about someone who becomes famous and doesn't really want to be famous, which is honestly probably every actor, unless they are so driven by what they're doing that they don't realize that fame isn't everything, Mr. Potter. Snape is one of the coolest characters, I think, in J.K. Rowling's whole book series because he's such a flawed man. Such a flawed man. But he still believed in the one thing that J.K. Rowling is trying to communicate to the children and everyone else who reads this book, which is that love conquers all. So he holds on to Lily Potter even after his death, probably. But it's just sad, because, Anyway, that wasn't the point of this video. The point of this video is that in The Order of the Phoenix, Ginny becomes more fully fleshed out. Then we get to Half-Blood Prince, and it's like, yeah, okay, she's the girlfriend now. But not really. She's still strong. She's still a character. She's still an actress playing a character. Seventh book comes, the movie, 2 parts, and you really see how much they love each other, which is lovely. Because that's the point of this whole series. Anyway, that was my little spiel. And I'm not famous, because it's not even 14 minutes yet.